In the previous class, we have discussed about the classification of vertebrates and the characteristic features of the vertebrates. Right? And in that, the vertebrates can be classified into two types, two classes or two subphylums or divisions, Gnathostomes and Agnathas. And Agnathas means the organisms which do not possess the jaws, but the Gnathostomes, they can possess the jaws. Okay, and Agnathas, it includes cyclostomes, petromycin and the myxin. And in the very important thing in that is spawning process. What is spawning process? The process of release of eggs and the sperms by the aquatic organisms into aquatic medium is called as spawning process. Okay, and it is very important question for 1 mark. And again, the cyclostomes, those are the organisms that can show the spawning process. And here, during the time of spawning process, they are exclusively marine organisms. They come to the fresh water for the release of both male gamete and the female gamete, and they release there only, and later they will die. After that, the male gamete and fusion gametes, the fertilization that is going to take place, they develops into a larval cyclostomes, and those larval cyclostomes, they can undergo metamorphosis until they are living inside the fresh water only. After they become adult, again they went back to marine water. Okay, this is the very interesting characteristic features of the cyclostomes. The example for cyclostomes is petromycin and the myxin. Okay, and after that, the next division is gnathostomes, the organisms which can possess the jaws, and those organisms are called as gnathostomes. And these gnathostomes are again classified into two superclass. One is spices and another one is tetrapods. Okay, and what are spices? Means the organisms which possess the fins for their locomotion, and those organisms they are called as spices. Okay, what are tetrapods? The organisms which can possess the limbs for their locomotion, and those organisms are called as tetrapods. Okay, and in this class I am going to talk about spices. Okay, and again the spices can again divided into two classes or two types. One is Chondriopsis and Osteopsis. Chondriopsis and Osteopsis. Chondriopsis and Osteopsis. What are Chondriopsis? These are the fishes or not? Yes, these are the fishes, and these fishes are commonly called as bony fishes. Cartilaginous fishes. The Chondriopsis, those are the organisms, and those organisms are commonly called as cartilaginous fishes. Okay, and the endoskeleton of the organisms is made up of cartilage. So that's why these are called as cartilaginous fishes, and these are marine organisms. These are exclusively marine organisms. Okay, and they are called as cartilaginous fishes. They are called as cartilaginous fishes. Why? Because the endoskeleton is cartilage. And after that, the mouth, which is located at the ventral position. In the Chondriopsis, mouth is present ventrally. The mouth is present ventrally. And the gill slits, which are here the gill slits are present, and the gill slits which are not covered by the gill covering. Okay, here the gill slits are present. Gill slits are present, they are not covered by the operculum. Without operculum. What does operculum means? What is operculum? It is a protective covering of the gills. It is used for the respiration process and feeding process. Okay, and here see the gill slits are present, and those gill slits are having the absence of operculum. What is operculum? It is a protective covering for the gills. It is a protective covering for the gills, which helps in the respiration process and which helps in the feeding process. And after that, it is also one of the important characteristics. And here the skin is tough and containing a minute placoid scales. Okay, the skin which is covered by the placoid scales. Placoid scales. See, this is the placoid scales. This is the placoid scales. And after that, the teeth are modified into placoid scales and which are backwardly directed, and the jaws are very powerful. The jaws of the Chondriopithecus, they are very powerful. Hence, the animals are predaceous in nature. Hence, the animals are predaceous due to the absence of air bladder. They have to swim constantly. Here, there is no presence of operculum, and here in this type of Chondriopithecus there is no presence of air bladder. Okay, air bladder which helps in the floating process. So here due to the in this type of Chondriopithecus the air bladder is completely absent. So that's why these species they cannot they cannot float inside the water. So that's why they always swimming inside the water. Okay, they always swimming inside the water, and they have to avoid from the predation. They have to avoid from the predation. They are always swimming, constantly swimming inside the water. And when coming to the heart is two-chambered, one auricle, one ventricle, and some of the organisms they can possess electric organs. Example is torpedo. Okay, torpedo is a type of Chondriopithecus species, cartilaginous species, and those species which are having the presence of electric organs, and from the electric organs they can pass the electric current. They can pass the electric current, which avoids escape from the predation. Example is torpedo, and they are cold-blooded organisms. They are pykilotherms, and they lack capacity to regulate their body. They cannot regulate their body temperature constantly. So that's why they are cold-blooded organisms. Again, when coming to the sexes are separate. The sexes are always separate. They are dioecious in nature, and in males, the pelvic fins they can bear the claspers. The pelvic fins which bears the pelvic fins which bears the claspers. And after that the fertilization is always internal fertilization, and many of them are viviparous in nature. Many of them are viviparous in nature. Internal fertilization. Which type of fertilization is going to take place? Internal fertilization, and these organisms are viviparous. What is viviparous? The organisms which can give birth to the young ones. The organisms which can give birth to the young ones is called as viviparous organisms. Viviparous organisms. And another very important thing here in the Chondriopithecus, they include shark. They include Scolidion and Trigon. Examples for this: Scolidion, Trigon, etc. These are all the cartilaginous fishes. Okay, that's all about chondrioctasis. And now coming to the osteoctasis. And what are the characteristic features of this osteoctasis? Osteoctasis, those are the organisms, the endoskeleton is made up of bony. So that's why they are commonly called as bony fishes. Okay, the endoskeleton is, in the chondrioctasis, the endoskeleton is cartilage, but in the osteoctasis, the endoskeleton is bony in nature. Okay, it is endoskeleton is bony in nature. And again, here when coming to the osteoctasis, the chondrioctasis are always marine organisms, but the osteoctasis are few are freshwater and few are marine water organisms. And the skin of the bony fishes, which is having the presence of stenoid scale. Stenoid scale are cycloid scales. Stenoid scales are cycloid scales. This is the stenoid scale and cycloid scale is this. Okay, see here, this is the stenoid scale and this is the cycloid scale. And again, the four pairs of gills are present and they are covered by the gill slits. They are covered by the gill slits. Here the gills are covered by the operculum. And here the air bladder is present. Air bladder is present, and due to the presence of air bladder, they can show the buoyancy. They can float inside the water. And the heart is two-chambered, and these organisms are also cold-blooded organisms, and the sexes are separate. And the fertilization here, the fertilization is external fertilization. Okay, the fertilization is external fertilization. Why the external fertilization is going to take place? Because they are oviparous organisms. They are oviparous organisms. And these osteoctasis, those are the species, and they are having the presence of air bladder also, and gills are covered by the operculum also, and the body is the skin is made up of covered by the protective covering called as stenoid scale or cycloid scale. And these species, they are oviparous in nature. They can lay the eggs. It is also one of the characteristic features of the osteoctasis. Okay, and the heart is two-chambered, one auricle and one ventricle. And another very important thing here is it includes the bony fishes. It includes the bony fishes, and here the example for bony fishes is hippocampus. Hippocampus. The hippocampus, it is also called as sea horse. It is also called as sea horse. And this hippocampus, it shows the parental care. It shows the parental scales. And these hippocampus, they can ability to the male hippocampus, they can preserve the eggs in their brood pouch. Okay, and here see, this is the hippocampus. See, these are the examples for osteoctasis and chondrioctasis. See, these are all chondrioctasis. Chondrioctasis shark, hammerfish, Pristis, and trigon, and narsin. Okay, this is the placoid scale. And here the heteroceral fin. Here this is Osteophysis. Example for Osteophysis is Anabas fish, Angelina, Exocetus, Hippocampus, and piper fish. These are the homoceral fin and diphyseral fin, and this is stenoid scale, and this is cycloid scale. Okay, and these are the types of spices. The spices can be divided into two types: Chondrioctasis and Osteophysis. Okay, and after the completion of characteristic features, the next point we are going to discuss is the differences between Chondrioctasis and Osteophysis. What are the differences between Chondrioctasis and Osteophysis? Very important question for final question. Mention the differences between Chondrioctasis and Osteophysis. And that time you have to write 5 different types of or 5 different differences. Okay. Chondrioctasis and Osteophysis. And now tell me one by one, what are the differences between Chondrioctasis and Osteophysis? Means the Chondrioctasis, they includes the fishes like sharks and rays, skates, and here these Chondrioctasis are exclusively marine. They are exclusively marine organisms, but these Osteophysis are, they can live both in fresh water also, marine water also. Okay, and after that, here the endoskeleton is cartilage. Here the endoskeleton is bone. And next is the skin, which are covered by the placoid scales. Skin which bears placoid scales, and here the skin which bears cycloid or stenoid scales. And after that, here in the Chondrioctasis, there are 5 to 7 pairs of gill slits are present. 5 to 7 pairs of gill slits are present. But in the Osteophysis, only 4 pairs of gill slits But in the osteoporosis, upper column is present. And here in the chondriopsis, air bladder is present, and in the osteophysis, air bladder is absent here, and in the osteophysis, air bladder is present. Air bladder is present. And the caudal fin of the chondriopsis. The fin of the chondriopsis is heteroceral in nature. Caudal fin is heteroceral in nature, and in the osteophysis, the caudal fin is homosessile or difficile in nature. Difficile in nature. When coming to mouth region, the mouth which is located ventrally, ventral mouth is present, and in the osteophysis, terminal. The mouth which is present at the terminal position. And here the alimentary canal. When coming to the nervous system, the alimentary canal will start from mouth region to anus region, and here in the chondriopsis, the alimentary canal which open outside by the cloaca. Okay, cloacal aperture is present. But in the osteophysis, anus is present. In the osteophysis, the anus is present. And after that, the males, which are in the chondriopsis, the males which can possess the claspers. Okay, the male which can provided with the pair of claspers are present. Here in the chondriopsis, claspers are present, but in osteophysis, claspers are absent. Claspers are absent. Okay, it is also one of the differences between chondriopsis and osteophysis. And here, another very important thing here is these organisms are viviparous in nature. They are viviparous organisms, and these are oviparous organisms. Those are oviparous organisms. Okay, example for chondriopsis and osteophysis. Example for chondriopsis and osteophysis. Sharp, skate. Here the osteophysis, trigon, exocytus, hippocampus, etc. Okay, these are all the differences between chondriopsis and osteophysis. Chondriopsis and osteophysis is very important question for main exam for 5 marks. Okay, don't neglect this today's class and practice today itself. At least you can learn to write 10 differences. Okay, at least you can learn 10 differences and 2 examples. Okay, the Chondriasis are commonly called as cartilaginous fishes and Osteophysis are commonly called as bony fishes, and they are marine in distribution. They are both marine and freshwater in distribution. Here the endoskeleton is cartilage and there the endoskeleton is bony, and the scales, the placoid scales are present, and skin which bears cycloid scale are stenoid scales, and here 5 to 7 pairs of gill slits are present and there only 4 pairs of gill slits are present, and here the caudal fin is heterocircal in nature, but in the Osteophysis they are dipocircal or homocircal in nature, and the mouth which is present in the ventral position, but in the Osteophysis the mouth which is present at the central position, and there are viviparous organisms and those are oviparous organisms, and the claspers are present in the Chondriasis and the claspers are absent in Osteophysis. The air bladder is present, absent, so that's why they are always showing swimming, they constantly swimming inside the water, and Osteophysis the air bladder is present. Okay, and they are viviparous in nature and oviparous in nature, and the Chondriasis, the cloacal aperture is present, the alimentary canal which opens outside by the cloacal aperture, but in the Osteophysis the alimentary canal which open outside by the anus. Okay, and there are all the differences between Chondriasis and Osteophysis. Okay, and in the next class I am going to talk about tetrapods and their classes. Okay, thank you.